Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. The Una River in Hrvatska Kostajnica is receding, but a landslide that came down yesterday is still active. The area is unsafe and police are keeping the site secure. The neighborhood has been evacuated. Residents whose homes have been destroyed or damaged are staying with family or at a local hotel.
There are 4 homes next to ours. This could all come down at any moment.
I'm looking at this area over here. The ground wasn't as close before as it was this morning. I'm looking at the distance from my house. It's getting smaller. The land is moving, slipping further down.
This isn't a permanent solution. This will be done through housing placement. We'll have to see what will be decided. Will the homes be rebuilt, or will the homeowners be offered alternative houses? Some people have said they would refuse an apartment in exchange.
Finance Minister Zdravko Marić said emergency measures would be drafted this week to help those affected by the landslide and flooding in Hrvatska Kostajnica. Agriculture Minister Tomislav Tolušić says his ministry is also ready to help.
The government will come up with a set of measures this week that will provide emergency assistance to these people. Luckily, there were no human casualties. Of course, we will be following this situation carefully and helping as much as we can. The ministry will help our farmers, especially the cattle breeders who have been affected. They can be sure the ministry stands behind them.
All 4 rivers in the Karlovac area are receding. The Kupa is no longer a threat to the town. Some roads downriver from Karlovac are still flooded. Residents of those communities are being transported to the town center by boat. However, emergency crews remain on standby.
Waters will continue to slowly recede over the coming days, but we have to be prepared, especially in this area, because we're expecting more precipitation over the weekend. We'll probably have a more precise plan tomorrow or on Friday after we get the forecast. We have to remain ready to take action.
Former Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces General Petar Stipetić has died. He was 81. General Stipetić was the Chief of Staff from 2000 to 2002. He was awarded numerous medals of honor for his service in the Homeland War and his work on organizing and shaping the Croatian military.
General Stipetić contributed significantly to the formation and development of our armed forces and our victories during the Homeland War. When he was the Chief of Staff, I was his deputy for a short time, and I can say he was a great man, commander, and general.
He was an exceptionally intelligent officer and contributed greatly to the Homeland War. I worked with him when I served as defense minister, and I must say he was one of the main people I relied on from the moment I arrived at the ministry.
When I say he was an officer and a gentleman, I mean these were his defining characteristics. He wasn't the kind of officer we see in the movies barking orders, the kind whose authority is rooted in barking orders. He had an air of understanding, competence, and most of all, he loved his soldiers.
President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović continued her visit to Argentina today. She met with members of the Croat communities in Rosario and Tucumán. In Buenos Aires, the president took part in an Argentinian-Croatian business forum and called for closer economic ties. The groundwork has been laid to begin doing just that now that the two countries' chambers of commerce have signed a cooperation agreement.
We are fully committed to transparency and ready to lift any and all trade barriers between our countries.
Investments between our countries are insignificant, and I would like to take this opportunity to give my full backing to Argentinian investments in the Croatian economy, as well as express my readiness to support all forms of mutually beneficial investment.
Foreign and European Affairs Minister Marija Pejčinović-Burić is on an official visit to Kosovo, where she spoke to leaders about improving bilateral relations, especially economic ties. She reaffirmed Croatia's support for Kosovo's integration into the EU. The talks also addressed efforts to resolve issues between Pristina and Belgrade.
States must reach a resolution through dialogue. The framework we in the EU have set up is such that this process must result in a legally binding agreement.
Our meeting only shows that Croatia stands firmly behind our path toward EU membership and that it is helping us in our efforts to integrate into a more modern and unified Europe.
In sports, Petra Martic is through to the quarterfinals of the prestigious WTA tournament in Indian Wells, California. Martic beat Marketa Vondrushova of the Czech Republic in straight sets. Her next opponent is top-seeded Simona Halep of Romania. Meanwhile, in the men's draw, Marin Cilic lost to Philipp Kohlschreiber of Germany in the third round.
Tomorrow's forecast for the interior calls for variable clouds with some sunny spells mixed in. On the coast, it will be more cloudy with a chance of light rain or scattered showers. Clouds are expected to move in from the west in the evening, bringing more rain late in the day and overnight into Friday. There will be a moderate southwesterly wind in the interior and a moderate to high southeasterly on the coast, which will pick up speed in the evening. Morning temperatures will be cooler, ranging from 0 to 5 in the interior and from 6 to 11 on the coast. Daytime highs will be between 12 and 17 throughout the country. Variable clouds and occasional rain are expected in the interior on Friday, especially earlier in the day. The weekend will be mostly cloudy and wet. Temperatures will drop on Saturday, and rain will turn to sleet and snow in the mountains and later in the northwest. Much lighter rain and snow are expected on Sunday. On the coast, variable conditions with occasional rain are expected over the next few days. There will be heavier rain overnight into Saturday and during the day. Southwesterly and southeasterly winds will dominate on the south and central coast, but in the north, winds will shift to a northeasterly on Saturday and pick up speed on Sunday.
And that brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.